guys, Matt Lemke here with Through Gamer Goggles, and we are with Derek. He's the massive, influential designer for the new Halo ground game, which is absolutely stunning. As you can see, tons of people are leaving the show, so this is the very last thing I'm going to get to do. I kind of like destroyed the content earlier with the poor guy, so we're doing it again. And thank you very much for meeting with me again.
No, Matt, it's a pleasure, really.
And it has been a pleasure to work with these guys at the show. So, well, hey, tell us about Halo Ground Command.
Halo Ground Command is essentially an effort from us at Spartan to make the Halo video games translatable directly onto a tabletop. So you'll be able to play a war game that feels like you're playing a video game. So it's simple, it's fast, it's punchy, lots of stuff dies, as we'll see when we go through the playthrough that I believe you've got later on. And it's fun, because that's what Halo is, it's just fun.
And I would say they did a good job of catching that flavor. So some of the cool mechanics are?
Well, the core thing about Halo is that it's not a passive endeavor. You're not sitting there waiting for something to happen. You're constantly in action, everybody's fighting. So we created a mechanic called reaction, which means that traditionally in wargaming you'd have a situation whereby you would go and I would do nothing, because you have to move your models and I then don't get involved in that process. What we've done with reaction is that when you decide you want to move, I then decide if I want to try and shoot at you. There's a risk involved, that's inevitable in all these wargaming things, but if I succeed, I'll shoot you in your turn, not in my turn. And then that changes the dynamic of the game. You feel like you're constantly on edge, constantly fighting each other in an aggressive, violent war game that is kind of Halo in a nutshell, isn't it?
That's right. And the reaction technique, it's a technique, it works well. The other cool thing is the amount of weapons Spartans have available to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody loves the Spartan, right? So you've got to have a Spartan that can have his famous assault rifle, and then every so often you'll find an ammo drop on the table, you kick the box open and there you go, you've got the weapon you always wanted for Christmas. The Spartan laser, oh look, there's a lot of hunters, if there's a lot of ghosts, I need a Spartan laser. If I've got a lot of banshees on the table, you knock that box open, you'll get yourself a missile launcher, a rocket launcher, you'll be delighted because you'll go shoot them out of the sky too. So we try to encapsulate all the things that you would expect to see in a video game in the war game itself.
I'm trying to think what else we need to talk about here. Okay, they got big models, okay?
There's some pretty big stuff in there, yeah.
Yeah, and the game's scalable, but you don't need to buy a new model every time because they got this really cool thing called a shadow template.
Yep. Right, well the shadow template, it's a funny one. I know there's lots of companies out there that would happily take $100 or so off you. Okay, he's bringing on a prop now, that's fantastic. Look at this, how pro we are. This is awesome.
This is actual size, people.
Yeah, so.
Okay, wait, let's put this in perspective. My arm is roughly 20-some inches.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is the actual size. I don't know how much the model costs. I don't care. I'm going to buy probably 10 of them. But the shadow template, if you don't want to buy this, is what you would use on the table.
Yeah. So if you're going around to your buddy's house, you want to play a war game with your buddy, you could take that massive model with you if you wanted to show off, but maybe you just want to take a little token on the table that allows you to play all the game without the extra weight of carrying the model. The thing about something like a Pelican is when that becomes available to people, yeah, I know, right? When that becomes available, what you'll do is you'll put it on the table as a flyer, so it'll get a flight stand. Or you can have it on the table landed and make a little mini diorama of it with the back door open and, you know, John 117 standing there, a warthog coming down, maybe a couple of wounded Marines.
Or attached to the back of it.
Yeah, you could do that.
There's a couple different versions, a couple different things you can do.
So the joy of what we've done, we've chosen 1:100 scale, which is 15mm. So the model on its own feels small, but when you put it down in a mass of troops, which is what you get inside the basic core box, it really is Halo. It's what you expect to see. It's a lot of guys dying horribly in an effort to get to battlefield objectives.
You just brought up a little bit of a brainstorm. For those of you that may not realize what's going on, they're actually pulling a lot of influence from the Halo Wars game as well. So not only are they trying to capture you playing as a Spartan or an ODST, they're trying to capture the effect of Halo Wars on the tabletop. And that scalability is, I think, what really makes it work.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Microsoft and 343 and the Halo franchise has been really focused on the first-person shooter sort of style. But Halo Wars has been out for a really long time and it's still played. Even now, people are playing it. Halo Wars 2 is on the horizon, and Microsoft and 343 are sitting there thinking, wow, this ground command, it's exactly like our game. Now, obviously I've had a little bit of advanced access to some of the bits and pieces on Halo Wars 2, and I've got to say, it's a little bit of a lucky coincidence that this stuff seems to fit in. It's not lucky, I've played it and I tried to make it work. But the Halo Wars 2 game is absolutely banging. It is brilliant. And we've got a tabletop game that's exactly the same as that game. So you can play with your mates online, then you can play with your mates on your tabletop, and the experience is roughly the same. It feels like you're playing a real-time strategy game and a battle game, but it's on a tabletop. I'm delighted with it, I really am. And we're looking at these people streaming out of Gen Con. I mean, we haven't had a single person say boo to us all weekend.
You sell out, right?
As good as. I think we had about 3 left, but that was because the guys at War Store were keeping it for themselves. So what are you going to do? You work the show, you get your kickback, right?
You get your kickback. Otherwise, it's not worth working it. It really isn't. What else you want to add?
Other than if anyone wants to come and chat to us, we're always available on our community. You come to spartangames.co.uk. You can join our community. You can chat directly to me on that forum, and anyone who wants to do any conversions or dioramas or do battle reports, they'd be more than welcome. The one thing I would ask is we're looking for people to write scenarios for us based upon the games and levels they've played in Halo. So if you've played a game in Halo or a level in Halo that you say that would make an amazing ground command scenario, write it down, do some cool graphics for us and send it in, and we'll put your name up on the internet and it'll be your scenario that we'll put up.
All right. Thank you.
Matt, it's always a pleasure, mate.
It is. Oh, they'll be at Adepticon. Maybe not him, but...
No, definitely me. I've said I'm going. That's that. I'll ask what the wife says, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be me.
All right. Thank you, guys.
See you later, folks.
For those of you that only watch me once a year, see you next year. Everyone else, I'll see you sooner.
Hey, guys. Wait, let's be smart about this. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording.
So we just... a massive seal talk. Yeah, let's talk seal.
So, here we are. Okay, we're going to jump right into ground battles for Halo, and Derek's going to go ahead and go over the game mechanics, well, the dice mechanics first, and then we're just going to play, because that's what we do.
Spot on. So what we'll do is I'll just talk about the very simple way that we culture our dice. A 2 means it counts as 2 hits. A 1 means it counts as 1 hit. If you roll a near miss, you put them to the side, because if for every one of these you roll, you're allowed to re-roll one of these. A skull, you don't get to re-roll pretty much ever. There are some rare instances where you do, but something's got to happen very positive in your bank to be able to use that. The only time that skulls are very exciting is when we're in melee, because skulls mean death. So we'll look for skulls in melee, but we don't want to see them any other time.
So they're like gun jams.
Basically.
Tank blows up.
Exactly. The worst situation, somebody was busy picking their nose when they should be pulling the trigger. So that sort of thing. And of course a 2 is somebody who was tracking the shot.
That wasn't a Spartan.
Not a Spartan, no. So, I mean, I'd rather shamelessly put myself on the side of the UNSC and force you to play as the Covenant.
It's okay, we've got better weapons.
It's my game, so be quiet. So, let's pick a unit.
Oh yeah, if you didn't catch that, he wrote the rules. It is his game.
So what we'll do is we'll play a simple activation, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to activate my Spartan, I feel the need. So, in normal wargaming, you usually have an I go, you go system. It's my turn, it's your turn system. What we do differently in Halo is, because it's based on a first-person shooter, it's not I go, you go, it's I go, and then do you want to go? So you get an option of trying to go. There's a risk attached. If you succeed, you get to shoot me before I move. If you fail, you take an activation marker and that's you for the turn. So it's a bit of a gamble, it's a bit of a risk, but there's lots of opportunities to make it pay off. So what I do is I'm going to nominate that my glorious Spartan is just going to tear these guys apart with fire. And it's up to you. You now then say, well, hold on, Derek, I quite fancy reacting to that. And you maybe nominate one of your units on the
table. Yeah, they're going to die. They're going to react.
Oh, they totally should. Yeah, go on.
They're going to probably run the other way.
It's the only way to be sure. Right, so
those are grunts, right? Yeah, they're probably going,
so
demon!
Inside the unit, there are some not quite so brave grunts. There's some grunts that have been enabled. They've got themselves some fuel rod cannons. And then there's an overseer who's fortunately leading the
these
grunts.
4 models are actually 1 unit?
That's 1 unit of troops.
Wow!
So, I have nominated my guys, and now you've said, yes, Derek, I intend to react. It's by no means a guarantee. You have to roll a certain number on 2d6 to make sure you can. So if you grab your 2d6 that's down there.
Red's the color of blood.
To do this, the zealots, the elite miners in charge, so let's see if you can roll 7 or higher.
Yeah.
All right, you can just leave now, because that's fine. That's fine. That's the way it's going to be. You get to roll some dice. Now, I'll take you through the stat cards later on down the line, but for now, I'll just tell you what the numbers are. He needs 4 dice. He needs 2 dice. He needs 2 dice, and so does he.
So 8 dice total.
8 dice in total. So let's roll these roughly in this area so everyone can see the result. And let's see how we get on.
Ah, skull!
You diva, look at that, that's pretty scary. So I'll just put the 2s together and I'll put the 1s together. And I'll very quickly get rid of that skull. So that's what you've hit so far, but you have got 2 2s. So these blanks, these near misses, you get to re-roll 2 of those again. And you make it very difficult for me to track that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. So there's a total, right?
That's a lot of hits.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9 hits. Now all you really need to do to put a Spartan under a bit of pressure is get 6 hits, which is exactly what you've done. So, the Spartan is a heroic legend. You know, he is not afraid of that unit in any way. I get to roll 1 dice. If I can roll anything except the skull result, I will laugh at your pitiful weapons and open fire. Of course, every time I do this,
he's going to open fire.
I want to make sure I'm going to talk over this so you can't cut it and make me re-roll it many times. So here we go. Oh wow, that was really close. It bounced on the skull. But no, it bounced off his armour. I've scored a 2, so the Spartan is free to react. It's free to act. So yeah, I'm going to shoot them now because you were so naughty and you shot at me.
What about my skull?
And you get your activation marker to say you've gone, and that's that. So I'm going to shoot now. 2, 4, 6.
Should we talk to my skull? I rolled the skull.
Yeah, it wasn't in melee, so we'll get to that.
Okay.
Because inevitably you're going to want to charge me with a hunters and bash his face in. So
yes.
So here we go. There's the dice I've got. Spartan. He only gets 10 dice against basic people.
Only?
He's rootin' tootin'.
So does he get more dice against other things?
He can do. What can happen is a Spartan can make contact with a weapons drop, and if he does, I swap that Spartan, and I get to choose lots of other Spartans armed with different weapons. I might say I want a rocket launcher because you've got a lot of anti-air. So like you would play in the video game, you say, right, I need the right weapon for the right time. The idea is use your Spartan cleverly and find where there's weapon drops and go where you need to be. So I'm pretty sure I was about there, but I won't match it.
That's close enough.
So here we go. Here's my dice. I'm very confident. So obviously, because I wrote the game, I just tend to roll better than everyone else. That's the rules. So
except you got 2 skulls.
I got 2 skulls. So I'm going to get rid of them because they don't do anything in shooting. I've got 2 dice I can re-roll, but I've had 3 opportunities to re-roll. It doesn't help me. I can't roll any more than the 2 because the rest are all gone. So I roll this. Well, it just gets worse for you.
They just got wiped out.
So now what we do is we allocate some hits. Well, the elite, he can take 4 hits. The grunt, he can only take 2 hits. That grunt there, yeah, he can only take 2 hits. That grunt there, he can only take 2 hits. So what we've got is 2 hits that then have to be allocated to the next closest, which is him. So I get rid of these because it's not enough to hurt that elite again. And now we will roll some heroic saves. The elite, he is blessed with a single heroic save. If you can roll a dice and get a hit, by some miracle he will survive my fusillade of fire and will not die. So if you like to roll a dice, roughly in there, and we'll see how you get on.
It's a hit.
That's a shame. Okay, so he survives. Unfortunately, these guys are not blessed with heroic saves, and so they are killed.
So what's that do for his morale?
Well, now we roll to see if he becomes suppressed. In Halo, what's weird is no one really runs away in Halo, they just fall back to fight again. So this is your cooldown token. Let's see if you are going to cool down. So you roll 2d6, and you add together the amount of bases that you took off.
So 3.
3, adding the 3 is 6. If you'd rolled 12 or higher, he would have taken the suppression token, but you didn't.
Oh.
So clearly, he didn't much care for those grunts, and he never
Not at all.
So that's fine.
That's an interesting mechanic, I like that.
What that means is, that goes to there. So the interesting thing is, when you roll 2d6 and you're trying to react, you're trying to roll high. When you're rolling 2d6 for suppression, you're trying to roll low. And the reason being is then that nobody can be using bent or crooked dice. Because if they do that, they'll kill themselves one way or the other. You have to have balance game. So, having done that, I'm very pleased, well done Spartan, you're getting a medal for that. It's now your turn. What would you like to do?
Well, how far do things move?
Well, on the stat card it'll tell you, but everything moves. These hunters can charge 9 inches, so that would
so they
allow
can
you
charge
to
him.
charge in. Now, hunters have got an assault cannon, fuel rod assault cannon. It's pretty exciting. It's not as exciting as hitting
They're
someone
charging.
with a shield.
They're.
So we'll measure that, and we're pretty sure they're in. But before you do that, if you hold on,
Oh, you get to react.
I'm going to try and react. Now, for my Spartan, I did tell you he was awesome. My Spartan's going to react first. He reacts because he's got an activation token on 6 or higher, and I'm totally going to do this. Oh, you are kidding me. So I didn't manage to do that. He's too busy talking about how great he was when he killed those 3 units of guns. So you smash into melee. Now you're going to need 12 dice. Each hunter has a melee score of 6 each, and there's 2 of them, so that's 12 dice. So how many dice have you got?
5 more.
On your side? 5 more. Right, you're rocking. Here we go. Now remember, you're looking for skulls. Well, steady on.
Shouldn't have told me what I was looking for.
That might hurt. Now, I don't know if to tell you this because you're rolling like a fan. Each one of those hunters has battle hardened 3. Okay. That allows you to re-roll 3 dice that you don't like. So you could re-roll those 3, and then the other hunter could re-roll those 3.
Oh my God.
This is so bad. Oh, right, oh dear. Oh, you're kidding me. That's another
I got another 2 more skulls.
Okay.
Dead Spartan. Maybe.
This guy's going to do some pretty serious duck and weave now, so he gets to roll his melee dice.
If he succeeds, you're gonna call him Ali, right?
Yeah,
Muhammad
exactly.
Ali.
He stings like a butterfly, hits like a bee. Right, so here we are, ready. I'm going to roll this for dramatic effect 1 at a time, which may take a while. Okay, he's all right. Remember, I don't want to roll a skull. No, he's still all right. Oh darn, right, so he takes a wound, so I have to give him a damage token. It's not looking good. Nope, he's still okay. Oh, don't die to hunters. Don't. Oh, that's tense. It's not flat. 3 dice left. Go on, you can do this. Fight like it. Oh, that wanted to be a skull. Oh.
Next one is.
It's the last dice. Is the Spartan going to survive? This is awesome. I'll build it up and he knocks it down the full, so he gets killed. You can only take 2 hits as a Spartan. And of course you take an activation marker for them. Now the Spartan didn't get to fight back because unfortunately got pummeled into the ground by your shield.
He died.
Before he got a chance to hit. And now we move on to my turn. Well, my turn would probably be activating something that's going to hurt those things. I just really, really want to. Ordinarily in these games, it's always a good idea to shoot something that hasn't activated. Unless you're petty like me and he wants to kill these guys, because I don't like them very much. So, Scorpion, armed with an anti-tank turret, remember I mentioned these guys are anti-armor, it rolls 16 dice at those bad boys, so I will need 16 dice. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I need to get 6 hits to hurt one, 12 hits to kill one, and it will work its way through the unit. So let's see what I get on. So roll it flat. So there.
I see a lot of misses.
That was a lot of misses, wasn't it? There we go. There's one. There's one. Of course, I can't roll the skulls, so I'll just get rid of them. It speeds things up massively because you don't have to look at those skulls. So that's enough to kill a hunter, I know, and I've got 1 floating, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rerolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect.
Oh, they're in trouble.
I'm warming up though, so there's 3, 4. Can't reroll that, I'll get rid of it. 1 dice to reroll because I rolled a 2. Still got that. Need a 2 though. Ah, shame. So that's enough to take this hunter completely out. Now, because the hunters are armoured units, they don't worry about suppression, but unfortunately for me, the hunter is furious that we killed his Bond brother, so this guy becomes a combat machine. Not that he wasn't a combat machine before, but it's worse now. Because it's like you kill a hillbilly, the brother comes to get you. That's basically what's going to happen here. So I'm quite afraid of that guy, and it would move on to your turn. I'd take an activation marker.
He shoot back?
He can't shoot back. The reason I didn't ask him if he wanted to shoot back is because a hunter, when he tries to react with an activation marker, needs 13, which you can't roll on 2d6.
Well, let's have some fun.
All right.
Let's run him over.
You want to ram something, it's the only way to fly, so let's go forward. What happens is, you guys move forward and they make contact here. I would, with these guys, got a heavy machine gun, I don't know if I want to react. I think I might just suck it up and get smashed. I might well definitely have to fall back, but then that'll leave them there, and then I could mob them with guns. So this is not going to be great for me, but it's 2 dice each for the ghosts, so grab yourself 6 dice. Now ramming is exactly the same as melee. Look for skull. Oh, see, your luck's run out, hasn't it? There's just 1 skull there. There's no re-rolls involved because these guys aren't really supposed to be.
Bummer.
Ramming. So I will pick off one of my bases, and I will be forced back and take my suppression test. So here's my dice. I took 1 casualty. That makes 9. It's not enough to get 12, so that's that. And I take an activation marker because you hit me with a ram. Well, thank you very much for turning up. I am going to blow you apart with my rocket launchers. So I've got 2 guys with rocket launchers and some other blokes, which will get a fairly princely 12 dice. 6, 8, 10, 12. Sadly, yes, you can react. I should have mentioned that. Kind of wish I had it now.
Yeah, I will react if I can.
Right, okay, and that's unfortunate. So, over here, we can see that guy there, he can't react. You can only shoot to your front. That guy there, he can't react. But that rather cleverly placed chap, he can react. So he needs 8 to react. Nope. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Right, so let's do this.
Well, you took my good dice.
Yeah, I did. Did you notice that? So here we go. I'm going to roll these dice now. This is these guys firing. I've got some missile launchers and I've got some other guys helping out. See, the guys that are helping out are adding these many dice in, so don't get too excited.
I've given you all the skull dice, so
well,
we're good.
I'll sure probably charge them in. Right, okay, so here we go. Now I need to get these into blocks of 3 because you've got a damage rating of 3. So wow.
You did it.
That's pretty fierce. I don't get to help these. And no matter how well I rolled, I'm not going to get to roll more than 2 because I don't have enough dice left. Okay, that's where it ends. So I do enough to do that. Unfortunately for me, vehicles like ghosts have a soak value, essentially to represent either how manoeuvrable they are or how tough they are when they're shot at.
Oh, okay.
So these guys have soak 3. And for every hit you get, I'll have to take away a success of mine. And so you get rid of that success. But remember, I needed 3 to hurt you, and I need 2 hits to hurt something. So there's 1, 2, hits off that guy. And then there's 6 there, so that's 1, 2, picks off that guy. How'd you like them apples? That was fantastic.
It's pretty good.
And of course, those guys get an activation marker, and we keep playing. But you don't get those ever again.
Nope, they're dead.
Well, that's not true. You can get them back. If we had a ghost on a phantom on the table, the phantom could fly over the battlefield, fire at various different targets, and then drop 2 ghosts back into that unit again.
Oh, wow.
And I would have to panic and shoot that down as quickly as I possibly could. So I'd be trying to activate air assets and that sort of idea. You can only ever do it once in the game for each battle group. So this battle group could only reinforce itself once. But it's an incredibly effective thing to do. You could lead the line with the ghosts, knowing that provided they didn't get wiped out, you could bring them back up to full strength. But if they get wiped out, you would never get to bring them back.
It's an interesting idea, though.
So we've got constant overwatch, persistence of return, you can bring guys back, and of course melee is brutal, as you've seen, and firing is very simple. The dice mechanics are all pictographic, so that speeds everybody up. You can sort of see how quickly we were just burning through successes. And then the dice system either encourages you to roll high or low. So
Right, that's actually really good.
Stops the bending of dice. It's becoming a bit of a problem in wargaming at the moment with people bending dice, so that was why we put that in. Oddly enough, I think you've actually seen everything. You've seen the whole game.
Does it have a blast template by chance?
It doesn't, but if we were to put that into the game, I would have to have a unit of mine touching it, and if I did, that's mine. If, however, you have a unit touching it, it's yours.
Oh, wow.
So I could be smugly kicking your teeth out around here, and then somebody flies round, takes control over it, and then turns the gun
onto the tank or whatever.
Exactly. So all terrain in the game, things like these, the turrets and things like that, they're all functional. So you look at the battlefield, you look at the way it's laid out, and you think, there's a good choke point. I need to get people in this zone. I wonder how I can do that. Maybe I'll hang back for a bit and drag them in.
It's as much about the way the table is set up as what you have
make
on
a
the
huge
field.
difference, and that's why it's important that you choose the table with your opponent. So you both mutually decide on the table you want to play on, because both of you are probably looking to do roughly the same thing, but perhaps in different parts of the battlefield. So you might build a bit of the battlefield that you like, and your opponent builds another one then you have to dice for table edge, so you might not get the battlefield you really wanted. But then there's the pull and there's the give and take of any war game, isn't it? You're always looking at the way that you can use the terrain as well as your forces to your advantage.
Very cool. I likes it.
You picked it up. Gosh, I'm glad I managed to.
I played lots of games.
No, really?
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
I was very, very happy that my Spartan got a chance to activate, but I'm very, very disappointed he died to the hunters before I got a chance to pull the trigger on them. But he did kill part of a unit. It's quite.
He killed part of a hunter too.
He did.
The tank did that.
The tank did most of the work there. And then obviously what you've got is the ability to change your Spartan out. That's very, very important. So if I was going up against the hunters and I was worried, I'd bring in my Pelican and I'd fly across the table. I'd put a weapon drop right next to my Spartan, and my Spartan would say, "Time for the Spartan laser." I'm putting those guys down. And the Spartan laser is fantastic.
So this is really designed not only to be a skirmish level game, but to be massive war.
Yeah. The idea being that you can play out the box just like you could with fleet battles. This one scales way further. So I mean, we've been playing on a 24-foot table where we were just, it was so bonkers. But at the same time, in all the demos we've got, you can see we've just got the contents of the starter box on the game, and there's still
That's
a lot
starter?
of tanks. Oh yeah, well not the
tank,
not the tanks sadly.
Okay,
but they're coming out very soon. But everything that's models here.
Still, that's a lot of models.
So you'll get your warthogs, you'll get your hunters, you'll get 2 units of Unit C, you get a fire support unit of Unit C, you'll get all 3 Spartans, because obviously you do need all 3, because you might hit a weapons drop or an objective that you can also swap in. And then for the Covenant, it's 3 units of Covenant, it's the Ghosts, it's the Zealots. He's awesome, just a cool guy with a massive sword, which you definitely want to try and get in combat as quickly as possible. And of course you get your glorious Hunters, which you did fantastically well with, I have to say. And then you build your force to the style that you want to play within limitations of the volume that you can have of things. So we don't tell you can only have 2 hunters, because that's restricted. What we do is we can say you can have up to 8 armoured build rating points. What do you want to put in it? I want 2 units of hunters because I love my hunters. Well, that means that unfortunately you've got to give these guys up, so you can't have your...
Oh, there goes the mobility.
So, if you want to choose, you might want to choose a battle group that's all about the hammer, and it just goes up the centre. But flexible thinking says I'll also take a couple of ghost units in another battle group that's going to take this flank. And I like that because I can come in and use the vast open space and my incredible speed to mean that nobody can cross that zone, and I can maintain a fire cordon. And so you can imagine all those firepower tactics that you would get in modern warfare and that you should play in Halo, and you do actually see on the top servers of Halo that's how people play. Should be able to do it here. Well, one would hope. And of course, I mean, the models are absolutely banging, which I'm really pleased at.
They are banging.
I mean, you're sitting there saying 15 mil. I know 50 mil, I'm not allowed to say that, sorry, it's 1 to 100 scale. But having played other 50 mil games in my time, it's just top of the tree. It really is, it's absolutely fantastic. And from a point of view of somebody, and I speak for myself here, I'm not a very good painter. I paint armies, I paint lots of troops. I paint Napoleonic brigades, I don't paint small skirmish games. When it comes to this sort of thing, I want to be able to dry brush and wash and hit and get an effect. And I think this is the game I know I can do that on, because the scale is right at it.
You said airbrush. That's above my pay scale.
Well, I say airbrush. I mean, I get someone else to airbrush it, and then I'll paint the detail.
So that's even more above my pay scale. All right.
That was good fun. Well done, mate. I enjoyed that.
That was good.